Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Man Alone solo role-playing YouTube channel. I'm your host, Man Alone. Today, we're going to be talking about Tales of Argosa. You remember those tales? You were young. Your grandmother was tucking you into bed. Grandma, tell me the stories. What the stories? The ones about the dragon and the wizard with the crab hand. Are you talking about the Argosa? Well, it's a sword and the sorcery. My grandmother never did that, although she did speak Italian, and occasionally when she would speak English, it would just turn into Italian. And so she could have been talking about Tales of Argosa. We'll never know. Miss you, Graham. And we are going to review this game from Pickpocket Press from the perspective of a solo player, and lots to be happy about there. For the tunage today, let's hop on Bandcamp, and I want to talk about this album Moondial by friend of the channel, Ickwig. I get some music sometimes, and it's like, hey, you check this out if you want. Sure, kid. If I have time, I'll check it out. Well, I did check this out, and it's very good. So, so let me give the praise I can in 10 seconds. The music here is excellent. Now, I love Dungeon Synth. This is Dungeon Synth Plus. It's got some ambient atmospheric stuff, but I just want to give a props, or I guess a special mention to Game Masters. This album has 16 tracks and solo players, and all of the tracks are named. Their name is very well aligned to what the song sounds like. So if it's like, gee, I need a song that sounds like a call to adventure. Okay, well, how about the call? Let's see that. Oh, yes, that definitely sounds like a call to adventure. Okay, I need to, I just walked into a pastoral village, people going about. What's music for that? Huh. Well, Romage Village is perfect. One more, I promise. What if I am ready to take up arms? I need something fast, aggressive, thrilling. How about Take Up Arms? Does that sound like the name of it suggests? So thank you, Ickwig, for the recommendation. And if any of you have recommendations for your music, especially if it's dungeon synth, anything that could be played in the background, singer-songwriters, thank you. We are not interested at this time, but those who make sort of any music that can be played during a YouTube video in the background. Okay, so Tales of Argosa is a sword and sorcery adventure, and it is a healthy-sized book that is very affordable on DriveThru RPG. It's printed in color, but most of the color is just shading to differentiate the different boxes and tables and tools. This is a game that is located, I would say, in the Conan the Barbarian type, not necessarily Bronze Age, but it's got a lot of dust, desert, and muscles. But it's also at times kind of like a dread medieval, like Darkest Dungeon. One of the things I really like about this game is that every character is a badass. So it's like, oh, I want to take a bard. I just wish the bard would be able to fight for themselves. Well, here's the bard. This guy knows 3 songs, and he calls himself a bard. He knows like the beginning of, he knows the first three songs from big innings from the band The Outfield. This is an interesting character, the cultist. Think about like a crusaderati gone wrong. And it's sort of a sorcery system that relies on pleasing your god, which I think is really cool. And there's some implied lore here with the different gods that could follow. This is a fighter, nameless, faceless, who is looking to make you nameless and faceless. magic user who has a demon-possessed arm. That looks so awesome. And then, yeah, even the monk looks like he's the IBC welterweight champion. So a couple of tenets that guide this game. It is capped at level 9, has a flat HP progression curve, a little bit of modification for solo play. Music. Magic is dark and dangerous. Yeah, we should put on a little bit of music. Using it is rare and it incurs a risk, right? So like if you are using magic, which is there's DDM, dark and dangerous magic, there is a chance that it can go wrong. And also it is not the type of game where you're going to be like round 1 fireball, round 2 fireball, round 3 lightning. Using magic in this world is a big event and it's scary and it doesn't always go well. What does always go well? Yes, these are cat dice from Q Workshop. And I just want to say, in my defense, number one, I got them for my extremely significant other. And besides the fact that they have these little yarn balls on some of the ends, as well as little cats and stuff, this is the modern D4. If you are a modern gamer, you can't be using the caltrops anymore. It rolls. Okay, so the character creation, I think, super fun because you keep getting to like pepper different things. You have your character race, you have your character background, you have your attributes are 3d6 for 7 attributes. One of them at least 13, one of them at least 15, and you can swap 2. 9 classes. Most players are going to be human. You roll a d12 for it, and 1 through 9 is human, 10 dwarf, 11 elf, and then 12 is halfling or half scorn. Scorn is sort of a unique race in the game, except for the fact that I've heard it said that they're kind of like orc. Looking at what I assume to be pictures of them in the book, and I'm not actually sure if these are, because it's on the overleaf, but scorn, so you can be a half scorn, but that's not a scorn. These, I believe, are scorn, and it says known as half men or beast men. They're heavyset, pink-skinned proto-human. So I think they're more like Cro-Magnon, man. The backgrounds are great. There's D66. You could have been a Yellow Lotus addict, a hangman, a grave robber, an actor, all chilling professions. And you have this interesting stat of luck, which is a depleting stat that only gets replenished by 1 each day. But rather than using it as like a token, like here's a luck token, give me my freebie, it's more like it starts at 11 or 12 for, maybe it's, okay, 11 rerolls are 2 for human and 1 for other races. Yeah, I think luck starts at 11 and then it's roll under. So the whole game's roll under. And so whenever you roll under, I guess it's like depletes it by 1. Death save, class abilities, battle. They're starting battle gear loadout. This is going to be ascending armor class. Your armor is 10 plus your armor bonus, which can be usually +1 for a shield, +1 or 2 from armor. Few shields that are +2, plus your dex mod. So it's your likelihood of getting hit. And then your attack bonus. Each class has a class attack bonus plus strength for melee or perception for ranged. And perception is shortened to PERC lowercase, and I keep thinking that that's saying you roll either strength or Percocet. Choose bonus languages by your language intelligence modifier. And yeah, that's something that is a little bit, not new to those who played the OSR, especially the OSR, like OSR when it was not old school. And those who play 5e, of course, is that you're going to roll this 3d6 for your stats, but then your stats are actually going to be derived modifier bonuses. And then you're going to be doing a roll under. But there is, if we look at the character sheet, there is some tracking in advance here. This is one I made for an Artificer. So you look, it's like I have a score of 13 that equals out to a +1 mod. And it could be like there's a table in here that corresponds to like what rating equals what mod. But you can either have a great success or a terrible failure. And what this means is, in addition to like failing your roll, if you roll 1.5 times your raw stat score, it's not only a failure, it's a terrible failure. 1.5 times or more. And because 13, half of 13 would be 6.5, rounded down 6. So actually, maybe that would be 13 would be 19 would be the terrible failure, right? Because it's right. I think I had that wrong because my strength was at 1 point of 14. So I think that's 19, right? Because it's 13 times 1.5 is 6.5. You round down, and then 13 plus, even if it was 6.5, it would still be 19.5 round down. Okay, 19. So what this basically is your its degree of success or failure, which adds like an additional modification to the outcome, which I think in terms of solo play is always great when we can work in those areas of like degree. How much did I succeed? But sometimes what can happen when we have success degree type stuff is it can feel tedious. Is the music not playing? Oh man, I had music playing. I'm sorry. If you didn't hear that and you only heard it through my microphone, it's because the sound. But maybe that's good. Maybe you really connected with my voice. Skills, basically, if they apply to something, you get a +1 modifier. And you'll start with a loadout, the Artificer, which is, I think this is the first time I've ever taken anything close to an Artificer, because usually an Artificer in a lot of games is an Alchemist, which I am fond of. But I wanted it to be more on the Mechanica side than the Alchemy side. And so the special trait of the Artificer is this Alchemy and Mechanica. And you get to roll a 1d12 to see like what invention you make on like your new level. And usually the invention is something that you could use like once per session. So you can get like a fume flask, which is basically like an improvised explosive. And you could use that once per session. But I rolled Black Powder Weapon, which is essentially this 44 ranged far missile attack. And I can just, it reloads as a crossbow, and I could just use it as I was able to like arm myself with it immediately. So that one is a little bit different. That was a nice pull. Everyone starts with 5 rations, torches, toolkit, bedroll, tinderbox. Leather armor gave me a +1 in terms of my defense or armor bonus. My HP would have been 13, but because it's solo play, there is solo modifier rules that start you on an HP of, I believe, 25 plus what? Constitution. I think it was a good time to switch up and talk for a second about the solo. Now, this is technically the solo page, but don't be fooled. This book has so much in store for solo players. This is just kind of explaining the solo approach. So it starts out saying, if you're playing with a group of players or a group of player characters, you could just play the game as normal. But if you're playing alone, it has lone wolf modification, which I actually have come to prefer this a little bit more. I've been playing a lot of party companion-based play, and I like that when I have maybe 1, maybe 2. But I start getting a little bit mixed up when I have 3 or 4 companions to work with, unless they're hirelings that are sort of, I don't want to dehumanize any hirelings that don't exist, but, they're less involved in the direct plot. And so as a lone wolf player character, you'll start at level 3 and get all of the advancements accordingly. Your hit points are 25 plus your class bonus. And so, for example, wow, that was a lucky pull. An Artificer's class bonus is Constitution score plus level? I think that's right, unless there's some other class bonus here that I'm like, what is class bonus? Like most likely to be successful. All right. So then, when taking an action in combat, for like dodge, they can make a bonus melee or ranged attack. Each time a PC, wow, when taking an action in combat, I was not doing that when I played a sample last night. Excluding dodge, I see. When taking an action, they make a bonus melee or ranged attack. So I guess that means like if you're going to take an action to pull out something from your backpack to use, you can then also make an attack. That makes sense. We roll the fortune die. We'll talk about the dice. On a sunny outcome, the attack's parried. On a bad one, the player character counter strikes. And if reduced to 0 hit points, unless the enemy ensures the PC is dead, the PC makes a death save after the combat. If they live, they auto-stabilize. They don't need anyone to aid them. 3 willpower checks on a short rest instead of 2. If the PC's luck is less than 10 on a great success, the PC may restore 1 point of luck as a further option. That's really nice. If the PC is facing 5 or more enemies, have their number. And during Hexploration, the player character counts as being on lookout duty, even when asleep. 6 sense for danger, light sleeper, etc. This is a bonus travel roll. They still choose another roll to perform. Now, a section also on published adventures, which I think is very much worth talking about. So, first of all, I want to say thank you to Pickpocket Press, not for the usual reason I am thankful for publishers, which is like sending me a review copy. I bought this on my own. Not saying they didn't or refused or anything like that, but I didn't ask them for it. I just purchased it. But what happened was there are these Oracle tools, and those of you who follow the channel know that I'm like a moth to the flame. You could literally be like, oh, you're playing this game without the limited edition sauerkraut can? And I'm like, well, do I need the sauerkraut can? They're like, no, you don't need it. But really? You're going to play without the sauerkraut can? How do you do that? I mean, that's the conversation that happens in my head every time. And so when it's something more useful than a sauerkraut can, though there are a few things, I gotta have it, as is the largest size option at what's the ice cream place? Cold Stone. That's the large size. They make you say gotta have it. Some corporate never mind. Okay. All right. So what we have in terms of the tools for Tales of Argosa, a sword and sauce adventure, is consulting the bones and reading the signs. Okay, so the first thing I got was the deck of signs. And these are some handy dandy Oracle cards. I must say, everything that's available on drive-thru, very affordable, especially as these folks live in Australia. And I don't know if they live there. They work out of there. Maybe they commute from Denver. Okay, so reading the signs, you got a 52 card deck, and each card is going to have Each card is going to have noun, verb, some sort of modifier, and a theme or a tone. It'll have a directional arrow. It'll have a time of day, and then it has some sort of flavor picture to it. So really quite concise, helpful Oracle, especially in solo play, and we just want to quickly summon something. You do like a 4-card spread, and the 4-card spread does the trick. Let's try it out. So Underworld, Deceiving, Driven, Joined. Underworld, Deceiving, Driven, Joined. All right, yeah. So to me, that the first thing that comes into my mind is a cultist. There's some sort of death cult, worships the underworld gods, and they are maybe at the beginning. This character was a little bit timid, but it turned out they had a secret ambitiousness, and not only did they join, they quickly rose through the ranks, whatever it might be. And then also for the last card, it's a forward arrow. And so that means that you have to touch this wall. No, it just means that that could be helpful. Any of it can be helpful, or you can just use whatever you want, as is the way of oracles. Now, the consulting the bones, this is where I wanted to just pause and waffle for a minute about Pickpocket Press. I purchased the bones, and for the Kickstarter, there were like a red, black, blue, white bones. And they were like, I don't know, plastic, acrylic, I don't know what it was, but they were no longer available like through the Kickstarter. And so, because the Kickstarter was over, so they said they're available through GameCrafter. I looked on GameCrafter and there was like wooden dice that looked really nice, and they had a little bit of a wash of color over them. And that was important to me because for the color differential, because even though it wasn't this stark of contrast, these are two symbols here. They look pretty similar. And I just wanted it like my eye to be able to distinguish between them. It might help to have some different color. I mean, this is all like, I didn't need any of this, but when I got the dice, they were so nice. They were so well like laser cut that it smelled like burnt wood. Like, check out the detail just on that sun here. And they looked really sick. I mean, they were so cool, but clearly they're all just like one color. So I reached out. I said, hey, you know, I don't want to make a big deal of this. I'm just wondering, the dice in the picture were different colors. That's helpful to me because I do have protanopia, so distinguishing that. And GameCrafter said something that was music to my ears, which is, I don't know, I'll contact the publisher for you. And I'm like, what? Is this a choir of angels? Like, someone is going to do it for me instead of telling me to go do it? Yes, and still looking forward. WizKids, somebody said they're going to contact me. I have not received any communication yet. Looking forward to that from my post yesterday. You can dig through my posts to see what I'm referring to there. And so, yeah, and I said it's not a big deal. They contacted Steve from Pickpocket Press, gets back to me and was just like, oh, I'm so sorry. It was a minor thing. There was supposed to be like maybe a caption on there that said the dice, you can apply like a wash of color to it if you want, but yes, they're going to come in this basic thing. And I said, you know what? It's no big deal. That is totally, I have a paint, I can do it. And he was like, no, I'm going to ship you some extra dice, and I have some left over from the Kickstarter. So it was awesome enough to send these are obviously very much easier for me to read, as well as I think on camera, probably easier to distinguish. And so that was what we'd call VC. Very cool. And didn't know that I had this channel. Now, I'm not saying that from a perspective of like, didn't know who he was talking to. If I ever say anything like that prior to getting 1 million followers, I want you to overnight telegram me a slap in the face. But what I meant was, sometimes it could be like, if I say something like that on the front end, I'm sort of insinuating a consequence. Like, hey, I run this channel. It has this many subscribers, and I'm having this unfortunate customer service experience. How can you make it right? Is really saying like, ooh, I bet I don't want to have to tell people about this because I don't like to do that. And so for that to happen, I really must be motivated. And so there is, without even any of that, he was like, I'm going to send you these. It's no problem. So sorry about this. We'll get that changed. And at that point I was like, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And just so you know, I'm going to be featuring this on my channel. If you, I'll let you know when I put out a video on it. He's like, oh, let me send you some other stuff. Offered to send the cards. I said, no, I already bought those. I have a problem. Anyways, sent me 3 of the published adventures: the Sky Tower of Bela Lugosi, the Cavern of She-Dog, and the Crypt of Kilbasa. And all of these are excellent for solo play. Okay, let me explain why. If you take a run-of-the-mill, no, this is a very good solo supplement here, but just as to posit a comparison here. Where is it? Must I do everything myself? I'm looking for I guess I'll pause it. This song is so good. I don't want to miss a thing, as Aerosmith. Okay, this is a good example. And to be clear, I am not saying that this is bad. This is like very standard for this kind of adventure. But just looking at this very good Merkborg campaign module from Dungeons Key. This right here would be a line that you would get using the index card method, which is like cover the line and only read so that you don't have any spoilers, right? Well, let's take a look at how this would go. Because remember, we're trying to like hide information from the players so they have to solve things for themselves. The sculpture is of a hulking figure, its arms outstretched with a hole in its chest, placing a heart in the... It's like, if I get that far, okay, placing a heart in the sculpture brings it to life. So that would be something... It's not like a big violation or anything. It's, it happens. And there are other ways to play other than, progressive revelation of the room like that. But if you were trying to do it so that you don't, like, ram into pieces of information that you would like to hold out on, sometimes you just get... This is a very adventurous song. I want to just make sure that everyone could hear it. Very good song. Oh, that's a good one, Black Pawn. Now, what they did in Tales of Argosa is they are very conscious of the solo player. I mean, it lists this in the solo section. And the way that it's set up is really cool. Okay, so essentially, the room format, with respect to room entries, bolded words are details that are obvious to the player characters when first entering a room or looking in. So you know that if something's bold, and you can see that from your peripheral vision, you can read it. An improvised description based on the bolded entries will give the players the gist of the room. Room dimensions are not included. Consult the map. Then it has icons. Flame icons relate to lighting. Music icons relate to sounds, paw icons relate to tracks, hand icons relate to touch sensations, and smell to odors. Bullet points provide suggestions on how to handle some possible interactions with the room's contents. Red is for creatures and traps, green is for directions, blue indicates treasures. And so the way that it's set up is so that, first of all, there's a general interior description for the levels. So this combines levels 1 and 2. It gives you a bunch of environmental stuff that will be present each time. And it also then, as you go through each room, say we go to, let's just see here. We're going to go to room 7. Okay, we'll try that. So the way that 7 is set up, is that right off the bat, you know that the room is pitch black and icy cold. These are bolded, so ice cold air causes breath to condensate. Barred prison cell to the east, 2 tables along the west wall. Floor is covered in dust. With the index card method, how did I lose my index card? Well, you get it. I'd be covering that up. And even if I accidentally see out of my peripheral vision something, I know that there's a bolded word here. I could look down to it. But the way that I operate this, and I have no official system. I think about building out a system for this. But the analogy that I have is a game. Each room is a game of 20 questions where, and it's not exactly 20 questions, but the game 20 questions. Imagine a game of 20 questions. That's like, if you guess correctly, you get $1 million. But each time that you have to ask a question, it's minus $50,000, right? And so the idea that I'm getting at is I will move the index card down and I will determine at that level of the description, do I want to make a decision or not? If I make a decision early with low level of awareness, I'm taking a risk, right? I could be, say, spending a time searching a room, and then the very next line can say, you can easily see that the room has no contents in it. I mean, that would be an amazing dungeon entry for it to say that. But then I've spent a shift or a turn or whatever searching. Perhaps I've used some sort of, depending on the game, it's different. If I need to, but if I do that risky thing, I'll probably give myself advantage. Or if I find something, maybe I'll add a little bit more. I find 10 silver. Well, because I took the chance to look with low information, I'll do 15 silver. If not, I have to go down, and each time I go down and learn something more about this room, I have more certainty. But in my head, I'm knowing like the more I reveal, the harder I have to be on myself about this. And so I'll go until I make decisions. And then once I make a decision, I'll go until I can find an outcome to that. If I can't find an outcome to that written in the text of the choices I made, because maybe my choices are not something that the adventure writer imagined, I smash my head through a wall. I use my oracle tools to figure out how that goes. But otherwise, without even going down, I can see that there are this colored text here without reading it. I know that could be, if it's blue, it indicates treasure, right? And so I'm already thinking about that. So I know there's treasure now. I don't know what it is. I don't know how bad. If it's red, I know there's an enemy here. So now I have some more information, but I don't have all the information. The enemy could be one butterfly, or it could be 3 Imperial Psi Titans. And so the way that this benefits the solo player and the builder of these adventures being aware of this, being helpful to us, is one of the coolest things about Tales of Argosa, because I'll say this: Tales of Argosa, unlike, what was it called, Low Fantasy I forgot the game that they made. I always forget the name that they made before this one. Low Fantasy Roleplay? I don't remember. Yes, I do. I'll be able to let it go. No, I won't. Anyways, that game had more of a specific setting. There was even a place there called Argosa. This has an implied setting through some of the characterization of the character types, the descriptions of the different places. But for the most part, this is an emergent play guide. There's going to be more from the publisher, just kind of brief conversations. Like, there's going to be more to fill in this world, which is awesome. But the thing that is really important for solo players, we have this option always for emergent play. We're in a dungeon. Check this out. Dead adventurers that you can find. Dungeon events, not bad. And then Hexploration. Look at these different options here for Hexploration. And I should say, by the way, this is only a part of the dungeon crawling thing. In GM tools right here, there is going to be lots more for that, but we'll just look at Hexploration really quick. You have the whole travel procedure here, and then on these tables, for each hex that you go to, weather, exploring, travel events, either overland, underground, or voyage, right? And underground could apply. And then some of them have the same thing no matter what, because they can apply to anything or be slightly adapted. But all of these different options. So that's D20, random encounters, aerial encounters, city, town, and village encounters. Look at that. Desert encounters, jungle encounters, forest encounters, mountain and hills, oceans, lakes, rivers, plains and grasslands, roads and trails, snow and ice, swamps, underground. Are you kidding me? Hirelings here, tons of names, personality and traits. And that's not even the best place to drum up an NPC, because I'm going to show you something else that's, oh man, actually the thing I show you next, I'm probably going to, the agents of Pickpocket Press are going to come pickpocket me when I show you this. Yeah, so this is the bestiary, oracle tools, downtime stuff, naval combat. It's just everything you want. This is a whole dungeon generator. Remember I said there's more specifically for a dungeon? Check this out. Doors, rooms, corridors, themes, contents, theme items, complications. Then a whole thing on traps. What kind of trap do you want? Well, we have bypasses, asses, alarm, arrows, deadfall, drowning, crushing walls, fire, explosion, gas, lockdown, magic, monster, needle, pit, poison, relocation, rolling boulder, mother-in-law, scything blade, self-destruct, snare, spear, spikes. Treasure? You can make treasure here. And one of the things, I got to stop myself because I get excited. The other cool thing here is that there are ways to create like special charmed or magic items, shields, weapons. So these are variant rules, which I haven't looked too much at yet, but I suppose if I played for a while, it would be something I'd look at, especially if I was at level 9 and I was like addicted to the campaign and I wanted to keep going. But one of the design theories is like, we want the game to always have moments where you're screwed, because that's the fun of, like Return of the Jedi, the Sarlacc pit, a one-on-one fight. Or what's the one that when Luke goes down to that pit? What's in that pit? Oh, I've lost my Star Wars fan card, honestly. But to be honest with you, I think I lost my Star Wars fan card about 5 years ago when I stopped caring. But the Rancor. You still, like, no matter how OP your character is, you don't want a character that's able to one-shot a Rancor. Maybe you do. Maybe if you're playing a game like Diablo where you become like a living god, or Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous or something where you literally ascend into godhood. But for these games where, it's about progression, but it's about a flat, even progression, this is why there's this cap, because at this cap, for most of the encounters that you're going to have, there's still ones out there that are going to be good fights. In fact, beyond the 9th level for each of the character types pretty much tells you how you retire. Now, could that be modified in future settings, supplements, games? I bet you at some point, even if they're like, we'll never do this. My father built this Tales of Argosa company, and he said, we will never go past level 9, and I'll be damned if we go past level 9. But then the board ousts her and says, nope, we're bringing in a new person. Their name is Bo Long. And Bo Long is real war dog. And not, they don't put just the cart in front of the wagon. They put the whole rowboat in front of the sloop, my friends. And they take this game to level 10. Well, you can probably guess the rest of it. It didn't have much of a duration after that. Any profits were illusions. Everyone there was so stressed they went hairless. Their fingers fell off. Their beard started to stink. This guy was leeching the life out of them, and gravity affects us all, including the stock market. It plummeted. But what I'm trying to say, Pickpocket Press, that's not going to happen for 190 years. So you don't have to worry about that, because until then, everything's going to be awesome. Hello, the 5 of you that are still here. So, okay, now here's the thing. Actually, this is going to be the thing that sinks Pickpocket Press's stocks. This is going to be the thing that see you on the front page tomorrow, because they're going to come after me. They're going to have their whole legal team saying, how could you do this? You can't do this. That's, proprietary, whatever. Doesn't matter to me. I'm here for the people. I'm here for the viewers of this channel. And, I fight for freedom. And so on all the pre-generated characters that are available for free on DriveThruRPG, the second page has this nice player cheat sheet, which gives you the overall schematics of dice rolling. You always want to roll low other than attack and damage. Gives the rules for great success and terrible failure, how to do luck. You have these like major exploits and rescues, which are basically using luck for like cinematic finishing moves or awesome saves, which is pretty cool. There's an exploding dice mechanic. Each die can explode once to re-roll any that come up as 6s. Stuff about resting. And so that's great. That's very helpful. But also available on DriveThruRPG. And they must have messed up, because this should be $500-$600. And this is why I'm going to get sunk. But they, for free right now, have this GM screen. Isn't this a great GM screen? I mean, look at what it has. It has everything you want. But no, there's more. There's 2 pages of this GM screen. But wait, there's more. There's 3 pages of this GM screen. But wait, there's more. There's 4 pages, including the quick and dirty NPC generator, which is incredible. And one that you can probably use in every game. And the reason why this will be maybe the last video you ever see from me, just remember that I'm probably in pickpocket press on this. I mean, if you're, they handle their business, so you won't be hearing from me again. Satire. Okay, so this is an incredible GM sheet. And honestly, and the truth is, bit aside, this company is so cool that if you did this, they'd probably be like, yeah, good for you. Don't do this because it is missing certain things. But you could seriously download this for free and play Tales of Argosa. It is, to me, this is how you make a GM sheet. The purpose of a Game Master's Guide is to make things easier and lower the stress and anxiety of the GM, to give basic reminders about things, and that if the GM wants to know something more, they can then refer to the text, but it should give them a lead, like, oh yeah, here's how I do initiative and turn order, because as a solo player, as a GM, you have a lot of info, and sometimes very simple stuff slips out of your brain. Like, I was talking, forgot how the reroll system worked. I just did it last night, and I forgot. Now, I don't want to, like, dog anybody out or anything. I don't want to say that one person's... When I say that this GM screen is better, I'm not saying that, it's better than any specific ones. And there are ones that I don't love. I think they could have been a lot better. I question the contents of them, but I'm not going to, like, throw any shade to a specific screen. 1 second. I just have to move something here. Let me put these here. Sorry, I dropped something. I just got to pause. Sorry about that. Let me just move this aside here so that I can get to my mouse. Okay, so also very exciting. It is now available in profile or portrait. Sorry. So either way, I do normally have it. I put it in this is the Drive-Thru RPG like brand screen, which I think is a great GM screen. Is very sturdy. It's a little too heavy, but it is the only one I've seen that has like this 4 panels that you could put the things in. And this is the one for Troika right here, inside and out. But I had them slipped in there and I used it. And I do have this set up in front of me when I'm solo playing. I just don't do it here because it wouldn't work well for making videos. I'd be like smashing things into the wall and stuff. And I just care about all of you too much. You ever heard that in a job interview? What's your greatest weakness? The best answer you can give for that is, I just care too much, and I just work too hard. Those are the interviewer has never heard those answers. You're going to be the first person. So I did mention on Drive-Thru there are lots of pre-gens available, and it's like I've been pumping the pre-gen excitement all month. Check out the previous videos. I promised myself that I was not going to talk about it again, but I do want to say that still going on. Tower House Creative, Man Alone 20, save you 20% across the store. The winner of the pre-generation celebration is going to, we're going to choose, I think, 2, maybe 3 winners, and Tower House is going to send Fate Die to them, and that is going all through April. And I also want to say that, and I'm not even going to read, I just want to say that Noble Knight Games, thank you for sponsoring this channel. And I want to say to all of you, I'm going to keep this short, we need to protect businesses like Noble Knight. We need to go out of our way to support businesses, because this is a business that is run on something that is in extremely short supply in the world, and that is a literal value system that's not just like a PR crafted mission statement. They take care of their customers. They choose fairness because it means something. So please, If you can, check out the affiliate link below. You'll also be supporting the channel. All of it goes to store credit because I'm a fiend, and so it helps to support getting new games and stuff for this channel. I just got a shipment from them with some awesome Warhammer stuff. It is the only company other than Amazon that ships almost as fast as Amazon, in at least the US, but they also do international shipping. And right now, they're doing a promo code that I really want to share, which is, I think this is right. Yes. Promo code Lookout, which is an extra 10% on your first trade-in. And let me just say this, that I did a trade-in 2 weeks ago. Again, not related to the channel. I just got a completely unfair parking ticket that I will fight. That is wrong. Okay? I was not able to tell that the curb was painted yellow there. Yellow is not one thing to one people. And I'm bringing in different types of... Anyways, I got that ticket. It was $175, which means it was a 900% markup on the parking costs. And so whenever this stuff happens to me, I say, I've got to make this back to make myself feel good. What can I do about it? And then I say, you know what? I'm always pumping Noble Knight. I should do a trade-in. So I went to their website. They have like a most wanted list of games they really want, and they'll tell you the trade-in for that. They'll always give you more store credit, but they give a good amount of cash. And I did it. They send you labels. They pay for shipping. You box it up. They don't have to be huge boxes. They prefer that you do more boxes. And I brought them to FedEx. I shipped them off. And within a day, they gave me a quote. And then now just today, just a few days later, I just got the cash in my PayPal account. And I want to tell you something. You know how if you go to certain bookstores, or remember when you had to sell back your books for school if you did that, and you'd put 80 pounds of books on the desk and they'd be like, here you go, mister. Here's $5 and a Dr. Pepper. I'm just going to say it. I sent about, think of like the size of a microwave. I sent about 2 boxes of 2 microwaves worth, and they weren't even full, of like books, cards, nothing spectacular, no limited edition things, nothing that was even on their most wanted list. It was just like board games, card games that no longer sparked joy, and $220. I mean, I just can't believe it, because it seriously, if you're thinking I sold like a Black Lotus card from Magic the Gathering, I didn't. I just gathered one of the games I sent was called like Dune Secrets, and they took it and they gave me, you know, I can't guarantee that everybody who does a trade-in is going to get, you know, I'm sure that there might be some people who trade in that don't get what they expected or whatever, but what I'm trying to say is this was such a fair price that was so respectful of the customer. Those are the kind of things that make me want to come back. So please consider supporting and shopping at Noble Knight Games, where the out of print is available again. Or their other catchphrase, complete your quest. All right. So the last thing I just want to show is how these consult the bones work. And at first, when I was using them, these are my new Q Workshop dice that I got. These are the Carnival Big Top Circus dice. I'm curious how they'll work. They're like in audition right now. Okay. So first of all, there's this die, which we pull out and use for encounters, which is pretty handy. And in fact, look how good this song is. What song is this? Hunting Party. Whew. This is Ickwig, man. It's a banger. All right, I'm gonna pause those so that I can look this page. Okay, right. So this is an activity die, and this table here, it has results for each of these for intelligent creatures and other. And this is not saying like if someone's stupid. It's more saying like Bear Grylls grizzly bear. And you have like threat, socializing, eating, working, traveling, resting. And so, yeah, it's just a quick way to generate like what is the activity of this party that you have encountered. And so we pull that one out. That's a nice die to add to the mix of Oracle tools. And I thought this was going to be difficult at first because as I was reading through it, I was like, this is overcomplicated. But really, all we do is we roll them and we look here, and yeses and nos cancel each other out when it comes to these twin, what are they called? The twin bros? They're called the twin peaks. They're called the twins of fate. And so these cancel each other out. And so the judgment die is like the trump die. It wins over if there's a tie. And so either way, it's going to be no. So whatever question you ask is no. And then this die, which is the fortune die, can either be sunny or scully. And then also there's some blank sides, and those kind of give a flavor to the result. All right. And so if there is that's the fortune die, shows a sun icon, interpret that yes or no result with an additional benefit, and the skull has an additional complication. Let me just say, especially for those who kind of newer to solo play, you don't always have to do that. I think sometimes when there is like any sort of Oracle dice resolution system that has these options for like yes or yes plus or yes and so much more, sometimes if it doesn't feel like that's something you want to take the time to learn about, like the yesness or no-ness of, you don't have to, you know. So if you rolled that and you got a no with complication, but your question was like, is that mailbox blue? And you get like a bonus, and you're like, it is blue, and also it's cornflower blue, and also it perfectly matches my scarf. Sure, you could do that if you want, but sometimes this can slow us down if we get too bogged down in like the degree. So if you're just looking for like to confirm whether or not something, you know, is there a source of light in this room, yes or no? But then again, sometimes you will feel motivated to build out on that. All right, and so I just roll the same roll other than this? I did. I'm trying to get a different roll. All right, so this is actually awesome. This is no max. This is substantial no. Okay, and there is something about a reroll. Oh, okay. So if you find it more or less, if you find something more or less likely, you would roll the dice, and one of the dice that you found to be an unlikely result gets one reroll. Okay. So say that you got this result here. Well, this one, sure. So we get we're like, this is a really hard thing. I bet you the result is going to be no. Okay. This would be the judgment die has to be re-rolled. It says, if any of the dice show the result you felt was unlikely, you must re-roll one of those dice, only one. And if the judgment die is the only one of these dice to be re-rolled, you must re-roll it. So the judgment die, I can't say like, oh, I'll re-roll the fate die here. If the judgment die has the unlikely result, you have to re-roll it. And it's a no. But if I had gotten a yes, then the yes would stand. See what I'm saying? Now, the judgment die is yes and no. It acts as a tiebreaker when necessary. All right. If you have two yeses and a no, what is the result? Well, I would say that even if we used a yes and a no to cancel it out, we still have a yes. And that, remember, the judgment die is only for a tiebreaker. We don't need a tiebreaker here. The dice are in agreement. So these are, I think, an elegant system. For some of you, I really enjoyed using them because I like any dice pool system, as you all very well know. There are rules as well that I did not use for montages and chases that look really interesting, and as well exploits, which are these sort of jump off the wall and kick somebody in the face kind of things. You could, again, read through the GM guide and pretty much get the gist of gameplay just from that. It is so good, and it's free. And all these character sheets, pre-gens, are free. And all of this stuff is very affordable. So I encourage you to check out Tales of Argosa, get invested. It has a lot of things that scratch the OSR itch, but it's also got a lot of things that if you're somebody that's had a harder time with OSR, right after I did this, hold on a second. I got this in Swords and Wizardry, which looks awesome, and I haven't fully looked through it yet, but just being like, oh yeah, like this is this is like OSR has. I was trying to find this table that's just like 001000, and I was like, oh yeah, this is right. Like, you know, those who know how to play this is not confusing at all. But if this is the first time you ever seen it, it's like, how do I play this game? Oh no, right? You see that in comparison, Tales of Argosa I think is a pretty good OSR bridge game. Let me know how you feel about it in the comments below. That is the end of this segment, but because I feel guilty about opening stuff that I just got without you all seeing it, here's a little extra section of the video where I am going to open the Vaesen map supplement I got. I got a nice package today in the mail, and I'm certain that I will be showing some of this stuff soon. First of all, I got Downcrawl. Sorry, some of this was yesterday, but I lose track. And for Downcrawl, I also got the card deck and the encounter deck, and these are some of the coolest cards I've ever seen. They're like modular. You fit them together with the arrows, so like you create a grid of interacting cards. I got Monolith, which is a quarterly publication that focuses its cyclopean gaze on a single system, featuring content from the Bog Folk made specifically for the hottest and most intriguing indie TTRPGs. This is the first one, and it's all about Merkborg. So it has like little supplements, adventures, different things. Very cool. I got all of Kal Arath and the supplements from Lulu. And not only is it Kal Arath, it's also got the Black Ziggurat and the what was the last one? The Pit Fighters something. The Lords of the Pit. Then finally, I ordered these quite some time ago, but they weren't released yet. It's not like it took forever, but I got for the One Ring, Realms of the Three Rings, which does have solo info on playing as a high elf in solo, and then Tales from the Lone Lands, which is a nice setting supplement for One Ring. And then this, I'm always interested in this, especially as, you know, thoughts of Pendragon extended beyond the narrative. Maybe we can have some mythic British maps. And look, if you're done and you're like, come on, you were supposed to talk about Tales of Argosa, and now you're still going. Please just stop. It's like, you can go. Like, you're dismissed. Class is over. Okay, this is extra for those students who are interested. Okay, clearly, if you're not motivated to stay, then I guess you're not motivated to stay, and that's the choice that you're making. But if you want a recommendation to solo role-playing college, I don't get to know who you are unless you stay for this extra stuff afterwards. You know, how am I supposed to attest to the most prestigious solo school, which is the ASI, the Atlantic Solo Institute. All right. So this is Glock. I'll never be able to say it. I'll never be able to say it. Glock. Man. Evie's going to be real mad at me. Oh, these are like handouts. So if you were GMing, handout, letter, I don't want to like spoil all of it, but I want to just mostly see the map here. These are GM materials, but to be nice to really. All right, so this is Mythic Britain and Ireland. Okay. Scotland. Leicester, Sheffield, Manchester. Look at this. Where's this guy going? So, I'm not saying this. I think this is going to come out negatively. It's really not. Is it just a map of... Oh, okay. And then we have London town. Wow. Wow. That's really nice. If only they had one of a real city, like Kansas City, or Branson, Missouri, or Toledo, Ohio. When is Vazen gonna do Mythic Toledo? Who knows? What a nice time I have had with you, and I just wanted to. I wasn't done. I just wanted to say from the bottom of my heart, and you know, there's no easy way to say this. It's gratitude, it's appreciation, and what one thing that I want to say